Hello and welcome back to some more of the Crew 2. In the last sort of video that we talked about earlier was showcasing the Ford GT in the Crew 2, one of the most expensive cars in the game, one of the best looking cars in the world in real life, in this nice orange and white. I said that I was going to race it from LA to Seattle, and here we are at the event, the Hypercar event. Basically sets up it's just a normal mission, but it just gives you kind of a good idea of what the car drives like and how it feels and all that kind of stuff just from watching it. PC edition, and if that matters for any reason to anybody, game is still capped at 60 FPS on PC as well, so there's really no difference there. But yeah, we're gonna jump into the event. I am over leveled, as you can see. Actually just pops up as I say that. It's a 230 recommended. I'm a 251. I think the event on hard is like a something higher than that, like a 320, I think, which I'm not near. And we're probably going to be racing some Lambo, some Ferraris, maybe a McLaren or two, something like that.
You're gonna lose by miles.
Is that a LaFerrari right there? I'm pretty sure that's what that was, as I passed by them so quickly. So we're going to race a little bit in third person, a little bit in first, just back and forth basically to give you an idea of how both sort of models go. I wasn't paying attention, I was thinking, and that's the downside of trying to drive and talk, is you get distracted and then don't pay attention to the map basically, which is never a good idea. As I'm looking at the map again. Really good start so far. I swear, go watch the sim racing videos. I'm better. But we'll catch right back up. It's no big deal. We're definitely over leveled for this event. So the car, I'm used to, like I said, the Ferrari 488. That brakes a little bit quicker because it goes a little bit slower. So all of my braking points right now when it comes to the supercars or hypercars, even though this is a super, it's just, they're all classified under the hypercar event. I don't know if the Ford GT counts as a hypercar. To be honest, I don't really know what differentiates the hypercar except at the biggest extremes, like a Chiron obviously is a hypercar. I thought it had to do something with price, but then that changed and who knows anymore. I'm sure there's a very well-defined definition that I'm just not aware of, but it doesn't. Oh, okay, that guy came back at me. You know, the Crew is arcadey, so we have, like I said, you kind of feel like you're on ice sometimes. It's pretty easy to like drift one of these cars around a corner, which in real life, obviously, you aren't drifting a Ford GT around a corner. It's very much a race car. And a race car isn't something you're really going to necessarily just be drifting around corners. You're going to slow down a little bit. And I still try to drive it a tiny bit realistic, but in a game that's not realistic, it's very hard to then drive it realistically. But like, okay, that... Sometimes I wish they turned traffic off. Sometimes, like, I understand when they don't. Also, some of these turns and that's one of my criticisms of the game, and I'll probably do a first look at the game as well, talking about... That's interesting. About how the kind of like where you need to turn and everything like that isn't really, I don't know, well defined. Like, you don't know when you're coming up on a turn, when in real life it's very easy to like pick out streets and just know even without there being like a street sign or anything. So I don't know what the issue is with that, or maybe it's just a me issue, but I swear I didn't have that same issue in the first game, so it's really weird. As you can see right now, if you didn't watch the last video, we have our wing up in the air. Once we get over a certain miles per hour, if we go to slow down, it then gets used as an air brake to increase drag to slow us down. And it does that at any speed above, it's like 70 or 80 in real life. I think the game does about the same. And that's only in certain modes, but this is always set up in like the racing mode. There's another one where it's not obvious to me. But I did there's a couple of these cross-country events, and hopefully at some point I run into, there was, in the first game, there were 2-hour events where you'd straight up just drive like around the country for 2 hours. And I used to do those with a friend. We tried it one time, and our hands basically died. We were just like, okay, we can't do this anymore. And then we did it again, and we actually completed it. He was in the lead for a majority, like 80%. And I overtook him at the end. He overtook me again, and then subsequently he missed a turn, which added like 50 minutes onto his completion time for the race. Oh no, the checkpoint was straight up down that road. Okay, well, you're going to be able to see how fast this thing is, because I'm going to have to haul butt to catch back up. This game incentivizes you to use shortcuts, so I was just kind of making my own, not checking where the checkpoints actually were. But it's a really fun game so far. It's basically, it feels like it's more than just kind of like a DLC for the crew, which a lot of sequels are starting to feel like. Like Destiny 2 just feels like an expansion pack for Destiny 1, because they're all built on the same engine. If they're in the same, location, they're going to feel exactly the same. That's why I'm excited for something like The Division 2, because it's set in a new location, which means they have to work and make new stuff, whereas this, they've kind of upgraded the graphics a little bit, though that's the main complaint I hear from a lot of people, is the game doesn't look amazing in terms of textures, and I'll agree, it looks kind of muddy. More like, it's super saturated. That's the dying in this game. Like, if you go too fast, you hit a car, it just resets you. I wish it didn't, but that's what it does. But it looks saturated, which, I don't know, I'm not a huge fan of. I've done some, when you mess around in the photo mode, you can see how the game could actually look, and it looks awesome, as well as like, I mess around with some like colors in photo mode is what I meant if I said Photoshop, and then I also mess around with it in Photoshop, and I changed some colors around, and that's where I specifically noticed how kind of like muddied and murky the game looks. But the cars don't look that way, which is the weird thing. The cars look really nice, colors look great, but can't be said. Okay, you want me to go the wrong way on the road? Or is this a two-way lane? Okay. No, we're just straight up going the wrong way. I should have expected this, but the game usually does a pretty good... The game usually does a pretty good job of not letting you... or not telling you to go the wrong way, so I just was like... I was flabbergasted. I was like, oh yeah, obviously I have to turn down here, and then I saw the car coming at me, and I'm just like, well, that's probably not right. But here we are. There you go. There's another example of Drift Nation. I haven't really been using my boost either. This car is just well equipped to keep up on its own. Oh, come on, fellow Ford. That being like a Ford, I don't know, is that a Fusion? Focus? That might be a Focus. Which they announced they're discontinuing after next year, I believe, or by 2022, something like that, 2020, 2022, one of the two. Okay, so Neil's getting away a bit. I gotta go catch him. Let him realize that the main car out here is the Ford GT. I believe, what is it? Is that a McLaren 12C? Is that what that is? My supercar knowledge fades after like a couple years ago because I've only been super interested in like foreign cars for a couple of years. The reason I think it's the 12C is because it's, I think it was orange. Maybe it was red. The car is just so nice though. Oh, we're coming up to the quote-unquote Bay Area. I think in this one we actually cross Golden Gate Bridge, I believe. Bay Bridge, one of the two. Not too familiar with bridges in San Francisco, aka on the other side of the country. Is this like California Highway 1 or something? I assume not, because we're going through like towns, but then it kind of turns back into highway again. Listen, Lamborghini. What is that thing? Is that a Celine? I think it is. Oh, there's a minivan to the face. It's almost like I like following the at least one or two cars just so I have a little bit of, I don't have to look at the map. I just follow where they're going and I know that's the proper way to go. And then, oh. Two of them just drove off the road. Good job, AI. The AI does some stupid stuff. Sometimes I feel like it's programmed, like intentionally for them to do it. Because they'll like super brake for everything. They know exactly the curves and where to turn, and then sometimes they're just like, actually, we're gonna drive off the road. So I feel like that might just be a sort of balance thing. Okay, we need to get out onto straight roads here, because I can just fly by these guys. The advantage that the GT actually has in corners doesn't translate well to an arcade game. Because all cars can just do that. Drift Nation around the corners. More open road though, less curves, and I just blow by everybody. No. Oh. There's the good old Pacific Ocean. Oh, Ford Edge, get off me. These cars have like, the normal like NPC cars have like magnets. They just hook you if you hit them. Come on, Neil. Rookie mistake. Got Russell on his LaFerrari right there. which actually might be the most expensive car in the game if you could buy it. It has an icon level. I believe it's level like 1,000, 2,000 icon level, which is a decent amount of playing. I'm at like icon level 6. Oh my god. I think the issue with the road turning is it almost feels like they hide them. So you have to really pay attention or you're going to miss them. And I feel like that's intentional. Because I think the first game had some street signs. Oh, I don't want to hit that bus. That would have not been good. I would have just insta-died. Okay, pretty straight stretch of road here. Use some nitrous, get ahead. That way? Yeah, okay. I know it's not really kind of possible, but it'd be really cool to see a game with like a really good sim engine try something like this, like Project Cars 2. Could you imagine like a full Project Cars 2 like world and how cars would basically drive like real life, like you would real life drive cars on roads? It'd be really cool. Because I assume Forza is going to be the exact same way as this. It almost feels... It did rip the original crew off, and it'll be interesting to see if they can do what they can, like, do and what they can change and iterate about the game. Because I think the crew 2 is... or the original crew was actually really good for what it was. I think this one actually may have regressed a little bit in a couple of different ways. Like, story, for example. Also adding boats. Don't add boats to a car game. At least it doesn't necessarily make me do the boat and plane stuff. I can kind of skip it if I want to. But I've been doing it just because A, it's easy, and then B, it's basically just free XP towards icon levels to unlock like the Camaro and the LaFerrari, which are the 2 icon cars. And then I have to beat the kind of like top rival in the car class to get the P1, McLaren P1. And I think I'm about like halfway there. Ah, you tap a car and you just die. Okay. I used another one of the cars as a brake there. Very handy. Oh, where's the first place guy? Oh, he's just a little bit further up the road. Oh, I might not. I should probably... It's 92%. I should probably actually get up there and win. I don't have to win this event. I can actually just finish in second. Oh god. Yeah, see, they're just... It's not very obvious when you have to turn. And I very much hate that. That's my biggest gripe. Is if your eyes aren't pinned to the mini map, you're gonna miss a lot. Oh! No, he pushed me. BM, bad manners. Okay, as long as I finish top 3, that's good. Happy with that. I think I normally race better in first person, but I wanted to do just third person for the... I like the look of the car. Look at all that loot. And you really just get that much loot because it was a long race. So that's going to be the end of our race from LA to Seattle in the 2017 Ford GT and the Crew 2. If you want to see more Crew 2 content as well as other racing content from like Project Cars 2, iRacing, and yada yada yada, all the other ones, that's kind of what I do. So if you enjoy it, you can leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel for all that content I just talked about, leave a comment down below for some other cars that you want to see, have some like showcases and some races to kind of give you an idea. If you like the car, if it's worth the money and all that kind of stuff. I think the Ford GT is probably the most worth it car in the game, in my opinion. Maybe I'm a little biased towards an American company making a Le Mans winning race car and then turning that into a production car, a small production car, but still a production car nonetheless. Yeah, we'll do a sick burnout here. You should probably see some other videos on your screen right now that you can click on and check those out, and check out the upcoming videos in the future. And until next time, I'll see you later.